Taipei really surprised us with how much you can pack into just a few days. One minute we were walking through centuries-old temples, the next we were climbing a local mountain for skyline views above the city. Then by night, the streets filled with food stalls and amazing culinary adventures abound. And that's all before we left the city for waterfalls and coastal rock formations. Also, I apologize in advance for the fact that I had my camera on a different setting for the first 2 days and the footage is a little more contrasty than normal. Alright, let's jump in. Starting our time in Taipei with a hike up Elephant Mountain. As you can see, only one person decided to come with me. Amy and Sunny went to do something else. Elephant Mountain is one of the mountains known as the Four Beasts, which are in this part of Taipei and which are all named for an animal. This is the most popular of the four though because of its views of Taipei 101. Before heading out on this hike, note that it is steep, about 600 feet of elevation gain, and over 600 stairs to get to the top. There's no switchbacks here, just stairs. If you want to be humbled, go hiking with an eager 5-year-old because he will just run laps around you going upstairs. If you take your time, this hike is probably possible for a lot of people, but there are a ton of stairs. And I have heard that it can get very hot and humid in the summer and you might not want to do it then. We made it to our first viewpoint. At about 150 stairs, you'll see this viewpoint through the trees, but continue up as there's a much better one at about 300 stairs. Jack finally admitted that he was a little bit tired too, so I feel better. This is a tough climb, even in the winter. At about the halfway point, so around 300 to 350 stairs, you'll reach this platform, which is a great view out over the city. Honestly, if you're feeling tired, you could totally turn around here as you got a great Taipei 101 view, but we continued on. From here was another 300 or so stairs, and this was definitely the steepest part of the entire trail. Eventually though, you'll reach this sign which I think notes that you're at Elephant Mountain, and then you'll go up, get some views of the city, and see some rocks which are called the 6 giant rocks, and it said that people climb them to get views, but then it said not to climb them, so we didn't climb them. And then right past the rocks there was a sign noting we had made our way to the top of Elephant Mountain. Nice work! How was that? Was that hard?
Yeah.
This trail is especially popular for sunset and sunrise as you can get some great views out over the city. And there were surprisingly a lot of people with us when we were doing the hike. So this is the day Alex Honnold was supposed to climb it, but because of rain and everything, they moved it to tomorrow. But this would be a pretty epic view to watch it from. After hanging out for about 25 minutes, getting a snack and having a drink, we decided it was time to head back down and meet up with Sunny and Amy. Made it to the bottom of the mountain. That's a great way to start our time in Taipei, heading on to more adventures. I will say that if you come in the summer and it's hot, that would be very challenging as it's a lot of steep steps to get to the top. Next up on the schedule was to go up to the top of Taipei 101, but we had some time to kill before it opened, so we headed over to the shopping mall next door to go to a couple stores my kids are interested in, and I was interested in as well. Check it out, it's the Pokemon Center Taipei right next to the Nintendo Center. If you watched the Tokyo video, then you know that we're fans of Pokemon, and I have to say, this experience was much better since we got here right when it opened and it didn't have the crazy lines like all the ones in Tokyo had. I still didn't pick anything up as we didn't have any space in our suitcase after traveling for almost 3 weeks, but it was fun to walk around and just to see all the things they had for purchase. Also, it was great to be able to walk right next door and go into the Nintendo store, and apparently both of them opened in around 2023. Well, that was more for me because the kids don't care too much about it, but I love seeing all the Pokemon centers I can, and the Nintendo store is an added bonus. The last store we had to visit was Dongguri Republic. This store is basically dedicated to Studio Ghibli, and my kid's favorite movie at the moment is My Neighbor Totoro. So being able to see Totoro out front and Cat Bus in the back, this was one of the highlights of the entire trip for my kids. So if you're a fan of Studio Ghibli, then make sure you don't miss this while you're in Taipei, and if you have no idea what I'm talking about, go watch My Neighbor Totoro or Spirited Away on your favorite movie streaming service. They're both pretty awesome movies. Alright, we got our shopping done and now we're heading to Taipei 101. You could definitely spend a half day down here as there's so many different shops and so many different restaurants all surrounding the massive building.
It's really cool that there's so many different types of shopping areas kind of all together, but it's really overwhelming and hard to find everything.
Especially to figure out what floor everything is on. At least we were able to find Totoro though, right Sunny?
Yes.
Here he is. The base of Taipei 101 is also a mall, and they had a large food court there, so we decided to grab some food before heading up. So this is one of our favorite places in Tokyo, was this place called Pepper Lunch. And so we saw it down here and it was the express version. Figured it'd just be an easy place to have lunch, especially with the children. Who doesn't like freshly cooked meat, rice, and corn? Clap it up, it's that good. When you're traveling with young children and you find something that they're excited to eat, it's basically the place you go back to over and over again because it makes travel easy. From the food court, you just take the escalator up to the ticket area and then you can start your Taipei 101 journey. Since we were here early again, there wasn't much of a line to go up and we were able to get in the elevator with only about a 5-minute wait. One of the first things you'll notice is how crazy the elevator is. It's actually the 3rd fastest elevator in the world and it takes 37 seconds to reach the 89th floor. When it opened, Taipei 101 was the tallest building in the world and now it's the 11th tallest in the world. When you reach the top and you look out the windows, you get a vast view out over the city. This city is gigantic. I can't even imagine Alex Honnold climbing this. It's so terrifying. How do you get around those things too? We spent about 30 minutes just walking around and taking in the views from all the different angles. It was especially cool to see Elephant Mountain, which we had climbed earlier. We've been in so many of these observation decks over the last month, and this is by far the best for kids with all these cool designs and stuff you can explore while you're looking out. I wish more of the observation decks would do something like this. It felt kind of like a fairy garden up here, and my daughter was a huge fan of just running around, seeing all the flowers and all of the different cool spots to take pictures. Since the kids were still free due to their age, we decided to get the ticket that allowed us to go up to the higher observation deck as well. And for this, you had to board multiple elevators in order to get up there. This is interesting. It's kind of like a secret garden up here, but it's very small. There's not really a lot to see, so you gotta decide for yourself whether you want to do the $10 add-on or not. If you have kids though, you can't actually see out. I would say if it was just Amy and I, it might be worth coming up here, as there are some cool seating areas where you could just sit and relax, and it was very quiet up here as well. But with the kids, it definitely wasn't worth it. They couldn't really see out or anything. So after about 5 minutes up there and 1 lap, we boarded all the different elevators and started to make our way back down. Also, be sure and come in and see the mass damper. This thing is incredible, especially when you learn more about how it works and how it stabilizes the building. There's what it looks like when it's actually working. This was after a typhoon in 2015. There's some cool videos on YouTube about the science behind this, but basically it moves during strong winds and earthquakes and typhoons to keep the building in place. When we made it back to the bottom and saw it from the outside, it became even more crazy to think about Alex Honnold actually climbing this the next day. And then we made our way back to our hotel to relax a little bit before the second half of our day. We're out again and we're making our way to the subway to head out to a night market. I've ridden these metro systems all over the world, and while this one is relatively easy to manage, I would say the first time you go, you should give yourself a little bit of extra time. When I was there, you couldn't tap with your phone, so you had to go buy a physical card and then you had to load it up with the money that you needed. I grabbed a physical card at a 7-Eleven down in the station, and then that's what I loaded. And then from there, I just used Google Maps to tell me which line to get on to make it to our destination. Oh, and be sure to tap out on the way out. That's how they know how much to charge your card. Leaving the train station, it was about a 15-minute walk to the start of the Shilin night market. And we didn't know it yet, but these night markets were about to become our favorite part of our entire time in Taipei. I told my children that we should walk around before deciding what we wanted to eat, but the very first stall they found had hot dogs, and that was what they chose. They didn't want to walk around. The Shilin night market is the largest and most popular night market in all of Taipei, and it began in the late 1800s. Here you can find everything from food stalls and stores to places that kids can play games. Amy and I started our adventure by getting in line for a famous fried chicken place, and then Sunny decided that she wanted a hot dog as well.
So good!
Many of these night markets even have Michelin rated spots, and so before I went to each one, I would always look for what the most popular thing was there, and then I just wander around and figure out what else I wanted to try. One of the most difficult things to do is to find a place to eat when you grab something, so you basically need to be eating and walking while you're at a market.
It's juicy chicken and the outside is crunchy, but not really like greasy or fried.
It's sweet, It's got a little bit of saltiness to it. The chicken inside is very, very good. A little bit of spice. I would say that's a strong start to the market. Good fried chicken for sure. Right next to where we were eating, there was a takoyaki stall, so we decided to try that next. In case you're not familiar, this is basically a fried octopus ball filled with everything from pickled ginger to green onions. And then it's usually topped with some type of savory sauce or mayonnaise. As you can tell, it's hard to find a place to eat here, so you kind of have to duck down an alley and eat, which is why we are where we are. Cheers. That's a nice deep fried texture. I like the squid inside of it. It does have a little sweetness to the outside with the sauce they put on it. Overall, I would say that's really unique, but really good too. When I researched what makes night markets so popular, I read that Taipei is hot and humid throughout most of the year, and that nights are just a more comfortable time for people to get out and gather. Also, they said that eating out is really normal in Taipei, and that going to a night market or a street food vendor is just a thing that lots of people do here. And after going to my first one, I can easily see why. We don't even know what this corn is, but it looks so good that that's our next try right there. Look at that thing.
That is how all corn should be.
This night market is so big that there are multiple streets that you can go down, all with their own vendors. And by the time we left, we probably only saw about a quarter of it. Also, there's a famous 3D tiger here, but unfortunately it was broken when we went. We had 2 more stalls that we were trying to visit before the kids got to play all the games they were excited about. And the first was a noodle stall. So this is a Michelin spot here for cold noodles. See how this is. It looks like cold noodles with like gravy right now. So it's like a sesame gravy almost. It's a little bit of a gritty consistency, but gritty in like a good way. Kind of gives you some texture. I would say this is pretty good. It's not something I would normally order, but the texture and the flavor is very, very interesting. Well worth trying. It's completely amazing to me that I can be walking around and trying these different stalls that are Michelin recommended. And that was what our last stall of the night was as well. Of all the ones that we went to, this one had the longest line, and we were waiting about 20 minutes for our first round. Once you get to the front, they only have 2 different buns that you can pick from, one that's pork and one that's veggie. Amy and I both went with the pork. This is our last thing we're trying tonight before we go play some games. It's some type of bun from this Michelin spot. It's also crazy to be eating with just motorbikes going right past you.
A soft bao bun.
Oh, like some soup coming out.
With like delicious pork ball in the middle.
Oh yeah, it's like a soup dumpling mixed with one of those buns.
I could eat this just as my meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Well worth waiting for. And this was 20, which is less than $1. This is definitely my favorite thing I've had at the market so far. It's so good, I'm in line for a second one. Round 2. Cheers. This spot felt like it was located down a back alley off the main market street. We even passed a temple to get there. Next up, we were heading over to find the children's games. This market is getting busy now. Between 7 and 9 is the busiest time, and we made our way over to the kids' games, which is basically like a large collection of carnival games where you can win little toys or stuffed animals. So there's a game here where you literally try to catch fish and see how many you can get to win a prize. Most of these games are around $2 to play, and we spent the next 45 minutes playing as many games as we could. The people working the games were so awesome and really engaging with my children, making for a very fun end of the night. This wasn't like the carnival games back in the United States. The kids won a lot of things. And with that, our first day in Taipei is done. We'll see you tomorrow. Starting the day by exploring the park, playground for the children, and lots of other beautiful things to see. Daan Park has been here for over 20 years, and it's kind of like the Central Park of Taipei. It's one of the largest green spaces in the city, and locals come here to jog, do tai chi, and just relax. Amy and the kids headed over to the playground, and I decided to do a loop around the entire park. I always love seeing these trees with roots growing right down to the ground like that. Also, what's crazy is that we're in Taipei right now when Alex Honnold is climbing the building. It's actually just over there. Pretty nuts to know that that's happening while we're here. In case you don't know what I'm talking about, Alex Honnold, who's famous for free soloing El Capitan in Yosemite, was climbing Taipei 101 while we were there. It was live on Netflix, and you can watch it on Netflix if you're interested. What a cool park. You can tell that this is kind of the heart of the city. There's so many people out here doing Tai Chi, just taking walks and just taking it all in, especially since we have such beautiful weather today. Check out these workout bikes. I don't know if I've ever seen a more beautiful area to do a public workout than this. Pro tip, in case you haven't used Google Translate much, you can actually just hold this up to it and it will tell you what the sign says. The kids really loved the playground here, and I loved being able to walk around such a beautiful green space and still keep tabs on the climb. If you're wondering how I'm able to use so much data while I'm exploring, well, that's thanks to this week's sponsor, Simify. One of the easiest ways to overspend while traveling is mobile data. Roaming charges add up fast, and buying SIM cards in every country gets old. That's where Simify comes in. With Simify, you get prepaid eSIMs starting at under $2 a day with coverage in more than 150 destinations. You activate it before you fly, adjust a couple phone settings when you land, and then you're connected for your entire trip. Just landed and already connected. They offer both unlimited country and global eSIM options, which is perfect if you don't want to think about data at all on your trip. It's affordable, straightforward, and trusted by hundreds of thousands of travelers for a reason. We used the global one for our entire month in Asia, and it was fantastic. If you're interested in checking out Simify for yourself for your next trip, you can grab an eSIM before you land and you can get a 15% off discount with the code LENS. Click the link in the description to learn more, and let's go grab the kids and have some lunch. Our lunch spot was only about a 5-minute walk away, and we were actually staying pretty close to the park, but if you aren't, there are 2 different train stations right next to the park that allow you easy access. For lunch, we are heading to Din Tai Fung, which is a popular spot worldwide, but we wanted to be able to visit the original restaurant. By original, I mean the closest to the original. The original is actually a takeout only, so this is the next best option. So this place can often have a few hours wait time, but we got here right when they opened, so 15 minutes for us. While we were waiting for our name to be called, Alex Honnold made it to the top of Taipei 101. If you squint, you can see him up there. How cool is that? You can barely see his silhouette right at the top. Now let's go have some dumplings. Din Tai Fung is famous for its dumplings, and one of the staples is being able to see them making it in the open kitchen right when you walk in. This particular location is massive, and we were actually seated on the 4th floor, and then you use a QR code and your phone to make your order. They showed us how to prepare the sauce since we were amateurs, and then right after that our food started coming out. First up, this is pork truffle bun, and we got the chicken right here. They actually started as a cooking oil shop in 1958, and then when the restaurant came and they started selling dumplings, they turned into a global brand with locations worldwide. So they said that you suck the juice out first, and then afterwards you put some ginger and some sauce on top of it.
All right, I need like 4 more trays of those. That was amazing.
That's how we do it. We dump the soup out and then we drink it.
Yummy.
All right, now try the dumpling, bud.
Yummy, yummy. Yummy.
Dumpling, cheers.
Whenever you want to come to Mom.
I've eaten here in California and it is nothing like this. This is next level, like perfect flavors, just the right temperature, nice chewy dumpling, good strong savory inside. It is amazing. That's why we're on round like 20 of the dumplings. There are tons of other things you can order here like the buns, but for us, the dumplings are where it's at, and I just stick with that the entire time next time. Make sure to come here early as it's a 110-minute wait now, and there was no wait when we got here.
It's only been open for an hour.
I mean, I'm not going to say that it's not worth waiting 110 minutes, because it absolutely is, but it's nice to not have to do that too. Now we're heading on to a famous mango ice cream place.
Yes. Yes.
Here's the original one, but this is takeout only now, so you can't sit down. That's why the one we went to is down there. It's the closest one to the original. I thought about getting more dumplings to go, but we were pretty full. It was just cool to see the original location since we've been to so many of these worldwide. From there, we walked 5 minutes down the street to a place that came highly recommended to us called Smoothie House. It was busy when we got there with a 15-minute line, and I can't imagine how busy it is in the summer when it's hot outside. It opened in 1989 and it's been making its famous mango shaved ice for decades. We ordered 2 to try, one with a strawberry and mango and one with just the mango by itself. Unfortunately for us though, it was frozen mango as the mangoes weren't in season.
Oh my, this is like a toy.
They described the shaved ice as ultra-fine and snow-like.
It's like fluffy shaved ice cream.
It's my best ice cream I've ever had in my whole life.
I would say for me it was okay, but it wasn't my favorite. Maybe that was because of the frozen mangoes. The kids are tired from their morning of adventure, so they're going back to relax a little bit before we go back later tonight. But I'm going to do some history stuff right now that they're not really interested in. From here I grabbed an Uber out to the National Palace Museum, as it's a little bit difficult to get there on public transit, as you have to take the metro and then you have to take a bus to get there. This museum is a must-visit in Taipei, and it opened in 1965 and holds one of the largest collections of Chinese imperial artifacts in the world. The collection truly spans thousands of years of Chinese history, and I was told that they have over 700,000 artifacts. And because it's so overwhelming, they have suggestions on their website on how you can just spend an hour to 2 hours here. There's an insane amount of pieces here, but there's two really famous ones. The first is the jade cabbage, the second is the meat-shaped stone. Jade cabbage is here, meat-shaped stone isn't, so let's go find that cabbage. There's the meat-shaped stone, as you can see, not on display today, but luckily the cabbage is. You can see a lot of people are excited about the cabbage. The jade cabbage dates back to the Chiang dynasty, and it was carved from a single piece of jadeite. The thing that makes it so interesting is how the natural color variations of the stone were used intentionally in order to create it. And I found the tiny insect that was carved into the leaves to be one of my favorite parts. Because of the realism and how unique it is to see it carved out of stone, it's become one of the most recognizable objects in the museum. After seeing how impressive the cabbage was, I would have loved to have seen the meat-shaped stone. Maybe next time I'm at the museum. This cauldron is another one of the famous pieces, and it's from the 13th century BCE. Again, this is one of those museums that you could spend a lot of time at. You'll see everything from weapons that are thousands of years old, to impressive pieces of art and things that symbolize royalty over the last few centuries. When you walk into a new gallery, be sure to look at the picture right by the door, as that usually tells you what the most famous piece in that gallery is. I spent about an hour and a half exploring here, and I don't even think I scratched the surface. Also, in case you're interested, be sure to stop by the museum store on the way out and you can pick up a jade cabbage to take home with you. Check it out, if you missed the jade cabbage, you can just see him right here by the entrance. Depending on how interested you are in that part of history, you could probably spend the entire day there. I spent just a few hours and now I'm heading back to pick up the kids and do something that's completely different. Yep, we're going to the toilet cafe. This was the #1 recommendation for my children. If you have 5-year-olds, then I don't have to explain to you how funny anything related to using the bathroom is. And when my son heard about this cafe, he was as excited as my daughter was to see Frozen Land in Tokyo Disney. The Modern Toilet Cafe opened in Taipei in 2004, and the concept fits perfectly for all of the different novelty cafes they have around the city. As you can imagine, it quickly became popular with younger locals and visitors, and they have multiple locations throughout the city. They also have lots of fun gag gifts to purchase.
No, it's not.
Do I look cool? No, I don't look cool. Oh, you look way cooler than me. As I'm sure you probably guessed, all of the food is served in mini toilet bowls, urinals, or sinks. I got some type of spicy beef with rice, Jack got spaghetti with a interestingly shaped mashed potatoes on the side. Amy got some type of chicken dish, and then Sunny got chicken nuggets and french fries. This is when you know you're a parent eating here instead of all of the amazing places in Taipei. I'm sure you can guess what the included ice cream dessert looks like, and you can see the enjoyment on my kids' faces as they're eating it.
Bye, Captain. Love you.
We love you. Do you love it too?
I love that they loved it.
Look, let's be real, that's not a very good spot to go to, but with children, it's about as good as the kids. It's probably going to be the highlight of their trip, so was it worth it for us? 100%. Once we could finally pull ourselves away from the Modern Toilet Cafe, we set out to explore the rest of the Shimen district. And almost immediately we stumbled on our favorite treat at the markets.
Toilet cafe for dinner and candied strawberries is all it takes, I guess.
Those strawberry candies were one of our favorite things in Tokyo, and they're just as good here. As we began to explore the overwhelming district, we were brought in by all of the different claw machine places that they had with some truly unique things that you could win. Like, you can win everything from little hats to 3D printed dragons. Look at this one, it has waving kitty cats. These things are hilarious, but they're impossible. We've already tried a bunch of times and we have not got anything.
Oh, Mama.
Ah.
He picked it up and then just literally dropped it right away.
And I picked it up and it threw it backwards.
It says, you will not win today.
So guys, watch this. You get it all set up. It's like, I'll just get this one right here. Okay, it's perfectly set up, right? Press the button. It grabs it. And then it just opens it. There's no way to win these things.
You should have won that one.
If you're from Taiwan, let me know if you've known anyone who's ever won any of these things, because it picks it up every time and it just throws it out. Leaving what I'm guessing are rigged machines behind, we explored the area and it felt a lot like we were exploring Shibuya in Tokyo. There was shopping, restaurants, crazy amounts of lights and advertising everywhere, and it was just overwhelming to your senses, but in a good way. There were even street performers, which was something I hadn't seen a lot of in Tokyo or Taipei. And we walked around for a while, but had our end goal of getting to a unique 7-Eleven. In Taiwan, they have themed 7-Elevens, so this one is themed like Hello Kitty. I read online that themed convenience stores are a thing in Taipei, and that they started appearing in the mid-2000s. The most popular are the ones they did with Sanrio, which are the Hello Kitty ones, and I think there's a few of them in the city. You'll also see that we go to a Peanuts one later in this video. After paying for some of the expensive capsule machines outside of the 7-Eleven, Amy took the kids back to go to bed, and I went on to one more night market. Since I was already down in this area though, I decided to head over to the Longshan Temple before I went to the night market. Wow, this is a cool temple at night. Check out the waterfall over there. The temple was originally built in 1738, but it has been destroyed and rebuilt multiple times over the years. I was told that this is Taipei's most famous and active temple, and that locals come here daily to pray, so it's not just tourists who are visiting. I was surprised with how busy it was. I was here at about 8 p.m. at night, and there was a lot of people walking through and using the prayer stones and just enjoying the temple. Also, the temple grounds are a lot bigger than they look from the street, and there's a good amount that you can explore when you're here. I haven't been to a lot of temples, but I think that's probably one of the most beautiful ones I've ever seen. After spending about 30 minutes at the temple, I headed back to the metro station and took the 30-minute ride to the Raohe night market. If you come to the market from the east side, look at the temple that is awaiting you right by the entrance. This is known as the Songshan Chiyo Temple, which I hope I'm pronouncing correctly. And if you're interested, you can walk through it, but it was pretty busy when I was there, so I didn't spend a lot of time in there as I didn't want to interrupt anybody in their worship. And then right outside is the awesome entrance to the night market, which is picturesque. Like the previous night's market, I had a few things on my list that I had to try, and the first were these buns that were Michelin recommended, and they were right underneath the sign. These pepper pork buns are cooked in this cylindrical clay oven, which allows them to warm evenly all around the outside, and it creates this kind of crisp that they put sesame seeds on top of. As with the previous market, there's not a lot of trash cans, and there's basically no place to eat. This was even more true for this one, as I came around 8:30 p.m. and it was very busy. It was hard to even walk the stalls. Finally found an alley I could duck down to actually eat this. I have to say it is very good. This is around $2 US, and it's a strong kind of peppery meat, just a lot of flavoring. They filled that thing up. Definitely a good start to the market. This market dates back decades, and it actually developed alongside the nearby temples and neighborhoods, making it important for locals first and then tourists over the last decade. While the market we went to yesterday is the most popular and the biggest, this one's known as the Foodies Market. You won't find a lot of the shopping or games that the other markets have, but if you're really into food, this is probably where you'll find yourself with all of the different options they have in such a small area. Honestly, everything looks so good here, and this is one of those times where I wish I had a bigger stomach to be able to try more things. Still full from my pepper bun and from the amazing toilet cafe earlier, I made my way over to Mochi Baby, which is a Michelin-rated street food stall that's smaller than the average bathroom. Known for its ultra-soft stretchy mochi and dusted with peanuts, it's something that you have to try in order to understand. There's only one option that you have when you order, and that's whether you're going to eat it here or take it to go. That's it. You guys, this is blowing my mind. It's like the simplest thing ever. It's just mochi rolled in some peanuts with a little bit of sugar. It is so good. It is worth going to the market just for this. You guys don't understand. This is so incredibly good. I bought another 10 to take away with me. And they even package it so that the mochi and the peanuts are separate so that it's good when you take it home. By this time I was pretty full, so I just let my eyes do the eating as I slowly walked with the crowds of people through the crowded night market. I mean, there was so many people you couldn't even walk faster if you wanted to. Check it out, this claw machine has bags of Doritos with century egg flavor. This one has bowls in it. This one has some sort of boxes of toys. This one has fake sausages and fake pork belly. If you're from Taipei, be sure to let me know about the claw machines and give me some insider information onto why they have so many crazy different things in them. And honestly, in terms of night markets, this was probably the thing I left Taipei the most excited about. They're so lively, the vibes here are amazing, everything is well priced, so you can try lots of different things when you're walking around, and it's just one of the coolest travel experiences I've had in a long time. If you really want to understand how amazing Taipei is, then make sure you spend a couple nights wandering the night markets while you're there. I can't imagine you won't leave as excited as I was about experiencing them. 2 for 2 on night markets in Taipei. Such a fun experience. One of my favorite travel experiences I've had in a while. That one was really busy though, so I only got to try 2 things. That's it for today. We'll see you tomorrow. Today we're heading out on a day trip to visit a bunch of spots outside of the city. It is a full day and we're starting from the train station. Since we had multiple days in Taipei, I wanted to get out for a day trip, and this one was really well priced at about $30 a person for the entire day. This is going to take us to Waterfalls, National Park, and some historic towns. We met at the train station downtown and connected with our group to start the tour. After meeting our guide and the rest of the tour group, we loaded up in a van that looked like it was built in the 1970s, and we set out on our adventure. Our first drive was going to be around an hour all the way out to the coast, and I got lucky and was able to get a spot near the front, so I was able to look out the window and see things like the bridges in Taipei 101 as we drove. After that, our guide got up and told us about the entire day, giving us an introduction to the different things that we were going to see. Also, shout out to JD, she was a fantastic guide. About an hour later, the coast came into view and we arrived at Yehliu Geopark. At least I hope that's how you pronounce that one as well. I have to say the arrival here is pretty incredible. Being able to go along the coast like this was awesome. This park only costs a few dollars US to get into, and it's a protected area designed to preserve its unique rock formations. From the entrance, it's about a 7-minute walk out to where you start seeing the rocks. The most famous thing here is the Queen's Head formation. You can see how much has changed in the last 65 years, and they said that it could break any day, you never know. Once you make it out to the coast, you'll see the rock formations start to come into view, and there's actually 3 zones that you can explore. Unfortunately, on our fast tour, we only had time to explore zone 1 and 2 since we only had about an hour before we had to be back in the bus. And I basically ran all the way out to the end of zone 2 so I could start making my way back and see as many formations as possible. For some background before we start seeing all of the crazy rocks, this area was shaped by wind, waves, and erosion over thousands of years. And it was designated as a geopark to prevent damage from tourism, since it's one of Taiwan's most important natural landmarks. So this is zone 3 out here, but unfortunately with the tour we're on, we don't have time for that, so that's as far as I'm going, and I'm heading back to zone 2. These formations are so awesome. I mean, just look at that, right along the coast. I also love how they tell you where to go. They just got a painted line. What's interesting, especially coming from the United States, is that you can actually walk among all of these rocks and touch them and nobody says anything. The only time they ever tell you not to do something is if you try to cross over the line. There's the famous Queen's Head right there. You can see how long the line is just to take a picture with it. Wow, that thing is so narrow. While everyone was waiting for the Queen's Head, I was blown away by these views that you could see up and down the coastline with all these other rock formations that aren't as narrow. If you want to take a picture with the Queen's Head, then that's going to be what you spend most of your hour on. The line was constantly long, and don't get me wrong, the Queen's Head is really cool. I mean, look at how narrow this rock is, but we didn't want to wait to take a picture with it. There's the line to take a picture with Queen's Head. This is an incredibly cool spot, busy like you'd anticipate, but well worth it. With 20 minutes left, I made it back to Zone 1, which is where the kids and Amy had been hanging out. This is the Heart Rock, as you can see. Everybody's doing this. Wow, are you doing the heart, Sunny? Yeah. Great job. Zone 1 has a lot of great formations, and it's where most people hang out, and it also has a lot of fossils of different sea creatures that you can see in the ground. The other thing I wanted to see and that I want to show you as well are these things called candle rocks or sea candles, which are only found here supposedly and nowhere else in the world. Basically, the softer outer rock erodes faster and it leaves something that looks almost like a candle's wick remaining. I only found these rocks in one specific part of the park, and I was the only person who was looking at them when I was there. After that, it was time to head back to the bus, and when you exit the park, there's actually a big market that you walk through with lots of different souvenirs if you're interested in one. I basically did a speed run of that park, but it was so incredibly cool. Well worth the trip already. Back in the bus, Amy and I switched so we were sitting next to a different kid, and then we drove along the coast and up into the mountains onto our next stop. The next short stop was at a place called the Golden Waterfall, and you could see how striking the color was going to be as we were driving up and going past the river that the Golden Waterfall feeds. Because of the mining and the high concentration of heavy metal elements like iron, copper, and arsenic, it creates this golden, yellow, and orangish color right next to the water. This is only a 2-minute stop, but check it out, the Golden Waterfall. That's pretty cool. We literally stopped here for less than 5 minutes, just enough time for everybody to get out and to take some pictures, but I loved that they included this on the tour as it was awesome to be able to see something like this just on the way to our next stop. From here, it was 30 minutes on steep and windy mountain roads as we made our way to Jiufen. This is one of the places I was most excited for, but unfortunately it wasn't exactly how we wanted it to be. It was pouring rain and they drop you off at the base and you have to walk up to the small mountain town. Luckily, all the shops were prepared and they were selling ponchos and umbrellas, so we were able to get everybody equipped for the downpour. Shout out to my kids and Amy, everybody took the rain like a champ, and we had a good time here, even though it wasn't what we were expecting.
It's exactly what I wanted to be doing in the rain, is climbing stairs.
Wow, look at you guys, it's like you're in a movie. This is an old gold mining town that boomed during the Japanese colonial period in the early 1900s. Tourism really revived this town, and it's one of the most historic towns in all of Taiwan. It's known for its red lanterns that light up the town at night, and many people think that it inspired the movie Spirited Away and the bathhouse in that movie. The director's gone on the record saying that it didn't inspire it, but I don't know, when I'm walking around it definitely feels like Spirited Away to me here. So this is the classic view here, this tea house with all of the lit up lanterns. It's obviously better at night and when it's not raining, but still pretty awesome. Right next to the famous view, there's an old gold mining tunnel that you can take that goes through the mountainside and over to one of the top rated tea houses for lunch. We're inside an old mining tunnel.
This is cool.
I'm not even sure what this tea house at the end of the tunnel is called, but luckily they were able to get us in and give us a seat right next to the window so we could escape the rain and see the views a little bit. While I don't have any specific information on this tea houses here grew out of the town's gold mining boom, and workers and merchants would gather to drink tea and negotiate business. After the mining declined, tea culture was actually one of the things that helped the tourism boom here again. We ordered a large collection of food, but we also ordered the tea service for Amy and I. This is a historic thing that they do in many of the tea houses around town, where they actually walk you through the brewing process. Doing this allows you to kind of interact with the history here and to smell the oolong tea that fills the room and see how it's poured in small cups and meant to be sipped slowly with great views, not like what we had today. I don't know, there's something pretty epic about having a tea service sitting up in a mountain town. Cheers. We were given more tea leaves so that we could continue to brew more pots for ourselves as well. We ordered a random collection of food from fried rice and some type of omelet to these pig bun things called cream buns, which ended up being everyone's favorite. And while I was hoping that it wouldn't be as rainy when we left, unfortunately that wasn't the case and it was back into the craziness. We were given 2 hours to explore here, and by the time we finished our lunch, it was a lot more busy than it was when we were dropped off. Wow, look at that view.
or lack thereof. It's just a great day. Do you want an umbrella?
What a lovely view. No, I'm okay.
No view, no fun.
Yeah, pretty much.
We made the most of it and just walked up to the town's historic street and walked the narrow alleyways that led us to different shops and different places to eat. In the midst of the rain, we stumbled on a famous bubble tea place, and we never passed up an opportunity to have that while we were here. One of the cool things about this one is that they put brown sugar on the top and then they burn it with a torch, making kind of a creme brulee top to your drink.
Oh, wow. It is like so mind-blowingly good, and like char on top is just like little caramelized bits all through it. So sad I'm not gonna have this ever again, at least for right now.
Bubble tea got everybody a little bit more excited about the day, and so we walked around for a little bit longer, going in a bunch of the different stores and seeing the things they had for purchase. I think one of the benefits about being here when it's raining is that there weren't a lot of people here. I'm sure it gets packed on a normal day.
This is a very cool touristy town, but this is unfortunately not the best day to be here. It's kind of miserable right now.
We decided to just head back so we could go sit in the van and get out of the rain, and so we started the long walk back down all of the stairs. Stopping one more time to take in the iconic tea house, I would love to come back here sometime and experience the city in a better way, but also see it at night. I mean, just look at how packed with character these narrow mountain streets are, even in the rain.
I'm so happy to be back on the bus. That was wild out there.
Following that, it was a 45-minute drive in the rain over to our next stop, the Shifen Waterfall. From where we parked, it was about a 10-minute hike to get to the waterfall, and the kids and Amy decided that they had already got cold enough and were going to stay in the car. The next stop was the town itself, so they figured they'd save their energy for that.
Wow, check out this cool suspension bridge. And there's the waterfall right there, but that's not even the one we're going to.
My guide told me that this suspension bridge was actually built to facilitate easier access to the waterfall. And when you come down the other side, you'll enter kind of a tourist area where there's shops and different things for purchase and different things to eat before making it to the waterfall itself.
Wow, that is an epic waterfall. Look at that. The kids and Amy decided to stay in the car, and I don't have a ton of time, but the tour guide told me how to get a front view, so I'm gonna see if I can get it real quick.
From the main observation area, there's about a half-mile trail which will take you over to the other side, giving you a view from there, and then down a bunch of steps so you can get a front view. I had to do this pretty quickly as I had a 10-minute walk from the waterfall back to where the bus was at, and they will definitely leave you if you're not on time.
Check that out! That is an amazing waterfall!
Our guide told us that some people call it Taiwan's Niagara Falls because of its width and how much flow it has. The waterfall is almost like a horseshoe shape as well, even though it's a lot smaller than Niagara Falls.
You guys, this is an amazing waterfall. Look at all the mist that's just pushing off of it. I can barely keep my camera lens clean.
The waterfall is about 20 meters high and 40 meters wide, and it's one of the biggest waterfalls in Taiwan.
All right, now I gotta do all the stairs back up to the top.
From the bottom, there's about 150 steps that go along the side of the cliff and take you up to the top of the waterfall. When you get there, you're basically right above it and you can get some great views looking down on it.
That was a huge highlight for me. That waterfall was incredible, but like all things on a tour, I was running to get through all of it. Almost back to the bus.
Next up, we headed about 5 minutes down the road to the actual town of Shifen. Everyone got out for this one because they were really excited about the idea of lighting lanterns. From where we were dropped off, it was about a 10-minute walk down a market street, and I'm guessing that a lot more markets would have been open if it wasn't as rainy. This town was developed during Taiwan's coal mining era, and the railway line that goes right through the town was originally built to transport coal. But much like the previous town, as mining declined, it was tourism that reshaped the town's identity. And the main form of tourism that you'll see taking place here is the lanterns that people light and send out. Now, I freely admit I didn't know a lot about this before we came, and I actually bought the lantern from the guide while we were in the bus.
I'm surprised they're still doing the lanterns in the rain, but I'm glad that they are because that's what the kids really wanted to do.
They took us to the shop where we had pre-purchased our lanterns, and then they told us more about them and gave us some paint so we could do whatever we wanted on the lantern. After drawing on them for a while, we realized that's not what you're really supposed to do.
Alright, so you're supposed to write like a wish. So I have Good luck for all subscribers. Hope everybody has good luck.
This was easily my kids' favorite part, and they were drawing on these for a good 10 minutes.
So if you come with kids, make sure that you don't bring a nice jacket.
After finishing, someone grabbed our lantern and walked us out to where we could light it, and I have to say this whole thing is chaos. There was motorcycles going by, there were people everywhere. Nobody really had any idea what was going on, and maybe that was because of the rain, or maybe that's just how it always is. Also, to add to the chaos, there was firecrackers going off.
They're just firecrackers. They're going off there. They are right there.
When it was time for ours to go, it was still raining, so they lit it underneath the overhang and then brought it out.
2, 3, let go!
All right, let it go. Whoa.
The kids enjoyed watching their lantern go off, and while we were there, I probably saw 100 lanterns go up.
That was an absolutely chaotic experience, and there's so many lanterns going on. I'm not really sure where they go, so I'm not sure if this is something I would recommend or not, but the city itself is pretty cool.
It would be so much more of a vibe and place to hang out if we weren't soaking wet and it was freezing cold.
Hey Jack, great job. That was a long day, bud. Hey, great job. That was a long day.
It was a long day.
From there, it was back in our bus and back to Taipei, where we were dropped off at the train station. In review, I think that that's a lot of fun. If we had better weather, I probably would have enjoyed the day a little bit more, but even with bad weather, it was still a very fun day where you get to see a lot of cool stuff outside of Taipei. Alright, that's it for today. We got about a half day of adventures tomorrow before we get on the airplane and we head back home. To start our last day in the city, we headed to Hawashan 1914 Creative Park. The spot was originally a sake brewery, and then it sat unused for a while before the early 2000s when artists began to use the abandoned buildings again. Now when you walk through it, you'll see pop-ups dedicated to some of your favorite toys or anime shows, or there's restaurants and all sorts of other things. These are usually temporary, and what you see now probably won't be what's here when you come.
That's some type of Snoopy Peanuts dim sum restaurant. Looks like they're even getting set up for a YouTube shopping event down here. That's cool.
We were there while everything was opening, and we weren't really planning on visiting anything. We just wanted to see what was there, and then we were planning on heading over to the local park so the kids could play.
There's so many cool pop-ups down here. Here's Dragon Ball Z.
I thought it was pretty cool to see this old industrial warehouse get rebranded and to have all of these different rotating art exhibits and pop culture events. And if you're traveling with children, there's a great playground nearby.
So there's this famous place for soy milk, specifically salty soy milk, about 5 minutes nearby. As you can imagine, I couldn't get anybody to want to go with me, so I'm going over there while everyone's at the playground.
Known as Fuhang Soy Milk, this place is located inside of a market building in their food court. You won't be able to just walk in though, as this is one of the most popular breakfast places in Taipei, and there's often a 45-minute to an hour long line.
Can't say I ever thought I was going to be waiting for salted soy milk, but here we are.
It took about 20 minutes from when I got in line to when I got up to the second floor and could actually see the restaurant out in front of me. There's a menu here, so be sure you figure out what you want before you get to the front as it goes fast. And one of the cool things about waiting in line is that I could actually see them making all of the different things right there in the window. This spot has also been Michelin recommended, which is what has led to the increased tourism, even though it's still very popular for locals as well. Again, if you only speak English like me, be sure to research what you want ahead of time, as it goes very fast once you get to the front and the menu up there is not in English. I ended up getting a collection of 3 different things since I had been waiting in line for about 45 minutes and I wanted to make sure I could try a few things.
Alright, so I got the regular soy milk, I got the salted soy milk, and then I got the number 12, which is some type of pastry with egg in it. This is a really unique consistency. Look at this. It almost has like a shell on top, and then kind of mix it around. Very, very different than I anticipated.
All right, first let's start with this soy milk. It's warm, it's got a little bit of sugar at the bottom. It's basically just served like a big bowl of milk. I mean, I don't have a lot of experience with soy milk, but that tastes good. It's like a little bit earthy, a little bit sweet. I definitely wouldn't eat this whole bowl. I think maybe you dip something in it. There's some people dipping stuff in, but I didn't get that, and it was really hard to understand the menu, but good soy milk.
Next up, we got this, which looks very, very interesting. I'm gonna get a bite with this bread that they put in there.
It's a lot saltier. I almost taste like a little bit like a miso soup. I wouldn't have thought that that was soy milk at all. It's weird because the top part is like a curdled egg maybe. It's not like bad curdled. Usually when you say curdled it sounds bad. It's not bad. Like very salty, very savory, and then almost like a deep fried churro without any cinnamon and sugar that you kind of eat with it. It gets better each bite. It's definitely not my favorite thing, but it's a lot better than I anticipated it being, and it's definitely a lot better than it looks.
After finishing up, I wanted to see what the line looked like on the way down, and actually it was a little bit better than when I got in line.
That's way better. I was all the way out here when I started the line, so. One of my favorite things about travel is new food experiences, and so even though that was a little bit of a strange one, I am very happy to have tried it, and you should try it as well if you're looking for a new food experience.
On the way back to the playground, I walked by a 7-Eleven that was themed like Peanuts and Snoopy. It was cool to see another one of these things, and I wish we had themed 7-Elevens in the United States. Connecting back with the family at the playground, we decided to head on to our last stop in Taipei. This is the Chiang Kai-shek Memorial Hall, and it's one of the top attractions in the city. The memorial is dedicated to Chiang Kai-shek, who was a divisive person and a former leader of the People's Republic of China. The grounds are free to enter, and it's one of the most popular tourist attractions in the city. As we were walking, Sunny said she had something she wanted to say to the camera.
All right, go for it.
Hi, we hope you like our videos.
So cute.
It takes almost 10 minutes to walk from the arch all the way to the base of the memorial. The memorial hall was completed in 1980 and it has 89 steps to get to the top.
This view up at the top is such an amazing view out over these gardens and buildings and the arch out in the distance. Wow. It honestly feels like the Lincoln Memorial in here. I wonder who copied who.
It's like a version of Lincoln Memorial and a mini Taj Mahal put together. It's wild.
Jack's getting his photos going. He's practicing getting that epic roof shot. You can also see the changing of the guard every hour from 9 to 5. I'll show you shots of last time I was here because we're not staying for the changing of the guard today.
It's an interesting thing to see, and it's well worth doing, especially if you're there during the right time, which is many times per day.
And for our last stop in Taipei, we're going to get bubble tea. You can really tell how big this place is with Amy and Sunny out there in the distance. It is humongous.
One of the interesting things about this building is that as you go down the stairs and then turn around and actually go underneath the Memorial Hall, there's a bunch of shops and a post office and different restaurants down there. This is the same brand as the one that we went to in Jiufen, but it's definitely my favorite of the bubble teas I had. The one that we got every time was the #1 signature brown sugar boba.
Here's all the balls right here that they're making into the boba at the bottom. They actually use that to cut them, and then it goes in, and then lick it. There you go. They're gonna show you how to do it. And they scoop it right in like that.
It's pretty cool to see the whole process here, and they have it on display for everybody to see while they're waiting for their drinks.
I'm very excited for this.
We figured since it was our last thing of the trip, we'd let everybody have their own, even though the kids only got through like a quarter of theirs.
I feel like I've been robbed my whole life of what true boba should taste like. Amazing.
This is the best boba ever.
All right, boba cheers. That was an epic time in Taipei. I love this city. I will definitely be back. We'll see you on the next one.
That's not the end of our adventures in Asia. Be sure to subscribe to see our trips to Japan and Vietnam.